What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we've got a fun video for you. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 best handguns of 2024. 2024, we were all blessed with all the guns that came out this year, in my personal opinion. Of all the years that I've been doing this, I think this is probably the best year for guns we've had yet. I was continually surprised that there was release after release after release I was actually excited about. 2024 SHOT Show was pretty dismal in my personal opinion, but I had no idea that companies had in it their own mind. They were going to release them all across the year during their own events, so we got to shoot different guns at a whole bunch of different times in the year we don't normally, which was pretty sweet. There was so many models to choose from this year. Honestly, making a top 10 was pretty tough, which is a big difference from the past few years. So let's get right into it. At number 10, we have an affordable do-it-all handgun. This is the Canic MC9 LS. Now, this is a slightly larger version of a gun that came out a few years ago, but I think it's actually even better. Very shootable, very accurate, and so far been pretty reliable, not to mention affordable. The MC9 LS is a 4-inch micro compact, so it is very thin, but it has a solid capacity of 17+1 in a tiny little package that's smaller than a Glock 19. Thinner, lighter, and has a better trigger than a Glock 19 as well. This gun comes with steel sights out of the factory. Mine actually came with an optic on it. We had front slide serrations, Picatinny rail, and then we had that pre-cock striker trigger, which the Canic series is famous for. Let me show you right here. Very light, crisp break, and then a really good reset as well, allowing you good accuracy and fast follow-up shots. I thought the MC9, the smaller version of this, was a good gun, but I felt like it was just a little too small and too snappy to be really shootable and be considered for a carry gun for me personally, whereas this one is not only a bigger size, but it packs a lot more capacity and it's more accurate in my personal opinion. I think it's a great shooting gun, and for the price of under $500, I think it's nearly the total package for most people looking for a concealed carry gun. In at number 9, we have a bit of a controversial pick, but it is the Archon Type B Gen 2. Now, the Archon Type B we had a few months ago, and to be honest with you, I've always been a sneak tip fan of this. I really liked the Arsenal Strike 1 before it came into the United States and before I bought one and realized it kind of sucked. What was that? Because I like the idea of the low bore axis. I like the way the gun looks, and I like that it runs a very interesting Bergman system compared to the Browning tilting barrel, which you see on most handguns. Not only that, but it has kind of a second kind of cool factor because it was unobtainable for quite a while. Once the Strike 1 came into the United States, it kind of sucked, and then they branched off into 2 different companies, one of those becoming Archon, which fixed all the issues in the Strike 1 and made the Archon Type B. That was a really cool gun, but this is an updated version on that came out this year with their new grip module, and all the other features. This one has an optics mount out of the factory. You can get one for SROs, you can get one for Shield RMS pattern, whatever you want. I really like the slide serrations and the bulldog nose look that it has. Not only is it very grippable, but it looks cool as well. Awesome trigger in the gun. It has a striker-fired polymer frame system, and it functions really well. I would say it's like a better shooting Glock 19 for a little bit more money. Overall, I think it's a solid gun, and it's one of the most shootable compact guns you can buy. So if you're looking for something fast, something sort of unique, but reliable and accurate, the Archon is a pretty good way to go. In at number 8, we have possibly a new carry gun for me. This is the new Staccato C. We actually started shooting this a few weeks ago, and I haven't stopped shooting it yet. As you guys know, I'm a pretty big fan of Staccato, so whenever Staccato has a new release, I'm always pretty excited about it. I'm a big 2011 fan, and I think Staccato makes probably the most bomb-proof 2011s you can buy. If you're looking for a durable, reliable carry gun or a duty gun for a police officer, Staccato is usually the only place you shop for 2011s, and I think that's for good reason. Reliable, accurate, durable, but except this one is their new micro compact, and micro compacts compacts, as you've known, are very hot this year. They are slimmer versions of compact guns. This is a 4-inch Commander size 2011, but instead of 7 to 9 rounds that they usually carry, this one carries 17 rounds for the same weight as a Glock 19, but you get a 1911 style trigger, which in my opinion is far superior. Lighter break, quicker reset, allows for faster follow-up shots and more accuracy. You get a bull barrel out of the factory, you get some awesome sights. Now the Staccato C in my personal testing not only has been extremely accurate and extremely fast, but as I expected with Staccato, it has been extremely reliable as well. We are 700 rounds in now with no malfunctions, and that is with my light loaded competition loads, that is with my 124 grain defensive ammunition, and that's with 147 grade subsonic as well. I like to test all the tiers of ammunition to make sure it works properly, make sure it's sprung properly, and so far this has been an excellent gun. I haven't even cleaned it yet. I've just been lubing it with Slip 2000, and this mother keeps on kicking. So overall, I think even though it's a little pricey, I definitely think it's one of the best guns of 2024. In at number 7, we have the M&P 9 2.0 Carry Comp. Now the M&P 9 made a pretty big splash on my channel. I think a lot of that is because people like M&P. I think a lot of that is because of just how the gun looks and because honestly, how the gun performs. It shoots extremely well. This is their metal frame series, so you get the aluminum frame, you get all the slide cuts on the slide, which makes it look absolutely sick. On top of that, you get the single port comp on top, which has been very popular this year, as you will see later on this list. Pretty much every company came out with a single port comp gun this year, because I guess in 2024 people finally figured out they don't like recoil. We have solid slide serrations, we have HD front sight with a blacked out rear, and then we have M&P's optics mounting system, which I wouldn't consider the best optic mounting system in the world because they do run plastic plates, but the nice thing about them is they do have plates in the box. Unlike a lot of guns who say they're optics ready, Glock and M&P actually are. If you have an optic and you have a Glock or an M&P, you can put it on right out of the box, and that's what optics ready actually means, not optics ready once you call me and they send you a plate. We have the new 2.0 trigger in here, and this is a performance center, so it is one of the best triggers you can get on a polymer frame gun. Not quite PDP good, but real damn close. As you can see there, the reset is fast as well, and it is certainly a fine shooting gun. I personally really like this gun. The only con that I'd really have to say about this gun is I do wish it would add a little texture on the aluminum frame portion here, but I personally do like the mix between polymer and aluminum because you do get removable back straps, which you don't get on a lot of aluminum guns, and I know that's not a big deal for some people, but guys with big old paws, I like adding that big back strap for me personally. Overall, we've had a bunch of rounds for this and we haven't had any issues, so definitely putting it on the list. How good it looks, how good it shoots, how could you not? And at number 6, we have our second 2011. This is the Springfield Prodigy Comp. Talk about a gun I didn't think I was gonna like. I had a real shit show with the original Prodigy. I had a 4.25 and we had just a nightmare of a time with it when Springfield introduced these, but luckily a few years went by and apparently Springfield has got their quality control under control, enough for me to get a second dive into the pool at least. I got a couple of friends, including my boy Dalton over there at PewView, and he's a big fan of the Prodigy, and he basically single-handedly talked me into giving a second try to the Prodigy. So you can thank him for having this on the channel. Now, this is a 5-inch with a single port comp, what a shocker, with a night sight on the front and a blacked out rear. They are suppressor height sights with an optics mount. Now, the one downside to the Prodigy comp is it's $1,500, and unlike the M&Ps and Glocks, as I mentioned before, it doesn't come with a plate system. Well, it sort of does. It comes with the Springfield system, but no one buys that optic, at least no one with a brain. Now, I like that it has the full dust cover underneath, and I love that you get a $3,000 trigger in a $1,500 gun. A lot of times when you pick up guns that are affordable, like honestly the Apollo, it's a good gun, but it didn't have that good of a trigger for a 2011. Whereas the Prodigy comp is really the cheapest game in town if you want to get actual XC style performance. You get the single port comp, which lowers the recoil a lot. You get the good ergonomics of the 2011. The controls are actually not bad for a relatively affordable 2011. And I know that sounds weird calling it affordable at $1,500, but if you haven't gotten the 2011 game, trust me, that's affordable. The grip module feels pretty good, and the memory pad on the grip safety feels good as well, along with the module being relatively beveled for the decent mags that it comes with. I certainly think that if you're going to get in a 2011 game and you want to pay as little as possible for as much performance as possible, I would argue that the Prodigy comp version is probably the best way to go. Did I say comps were popular in 2024? Here, at number 5, is the PDP X Pro, another compensated gun. This is what I would argue is the premium line of the PDP. The standard PDP is good, but this one is great. This is a 5-inch PDP with a 4.5-inch slide and a Parker Mountain machine comp on the front with a full dust cover and the real star of the show, which is the PDP dynamic trigger, which is the best trigger in a polymer frame gun. It feels so good when you shoot this gun. The grip texture is awesome, the slide serrations are awesome, and it comes with the standard PDP optics mounting system, so you can get the standard PDP mounts. Sadly, unlike the M&P, they don't come in the box, but you can get one for free. We have a really big trigger guard here, a good undercut, and we have a mag well. Now, what I love about the PDP as opposed to maybe the M&P metal is the trigger is just a little bit better, and since I'm such a trigger snob, I put it a little higher on the list. But I love the PDP so much. The PDP was a gun that I shot in competition for a long time, and I really like the platform, and it's certainly one of my favorite polymer frame guns. Now that you get all the bells and whistles without having to make the gun, a lot of people were making this style of gun up by taking their standard PDP, putting the muzzle brake on it, putting the trigger in it, putting the mag on it. This is just basically a model you can buy right out of the factory with spinner rims already equipped. Overall, I think it's one of the best shooting polymer frame striker fire guns you can get. The first shots we brought it out to 150 yards, had no problems. Shot super fast splits, super fast build drills, and overall, I think it can do pretty much anything you need it to do in the polymer frame world. In at number 4, we have the SIG 226 X5 Legion, and it's on this list because it's one of my favorite guns I've ever shot. I love the SIG 226. I've loved that gun ever since I was a kid, and it was one of the first guns I wanted to buy as soon as I was able to. The 226 was used by the Navy SEALs. It was used by tons of law enforcement agencies and militaries across the world. One of the most reliable, durable designs that has ever been made by a human. They have a steel or aluminum frame. They're usually double single action, although this one is single action only. It also runs a SIG's compensator from its Micro series, which I absolutely love. It is a longer slide with a shorter barrel with a compensator included, so you don't get a whole lot of dirty shit back in the gun, and it's still compensated and still runs super clean. The trigger they put in that gun rivals any 2011 I've ever shot. It also has an optics mounting system and a super cool color. It's extremely reliable, extremely accurate, extremely fast, but it's pretty expensive too, around $2,000. That being said, if you compare it to the average 2011, honestly, it's a bit of a steal, and I would recommend it for anybody who wants to go fast but doesn't want to sacrifice reliability. Overall, it might be the best gun SIG's ever made, so how could it not be on the list? In at number 3, we have the Canic TTI Combat. This is a collaboration with Terran Tactical, you know, the guy who made the John Wick guns, and I think this is probably the best way you can get into a Terran gun, simply because these are around $1,000, which is a lot cheaper than most of the guns Terran Tactical has put out, arguably better than a lot of the guns that Terran has put out as well. And I'm not joking about that. If you actually shoot this gun and you shoot it next to, let's say, a Glock 34 Combat Master, I would not be too shocked if most people preferred this. And that's a bold statement, but here's why. First off, we have a single port comp in the top there that's split into two, and it actually does control the recoil on the Canic quite a lot. We have some really cool serrations here, really good sights, and then we have the lowest optics mounting system that Canic's ever put out, which again, Terran is famous for. Comes with a whole bunch of different plates, just like the M&P and the Glock system, and you can put whatever optic you want right out of the box. Now, where I think this shines over the Glock besides the compensator is going to be that trigger. Other than maybe the PDP dynamic trigger, this is the best trigger in the polymer frame world. Both of them are going back and back all the time, and I'm never sure which one is better. This one feels so good. Not only is it a pre-cocked design just like the PDP, but it has a serrated face on it, which feels really good. And on top of that, as you can see right here from my longer hands, it actually breaks right at 90 degrees. It only has about a 3-pound pull with a very fast reset, which allows you to get really fast follow-up shots. I personally really like the black and gold color, although I'm a big Hawkeyes fan, and I really like the extra texture that they put on the gun. I also really like the magwell, and I like the oversized trigger guard, and we do already have a full 1,000-round review on this gun if you're interested. The only real downside that I saw this is they put a big competition style mag release on here, which because of my big hands, I had to file off a little bit with sandpaper, but other than that, it was an excellent gun. relatively affordable. You can see these between $900 and $1,000, and for as tricked out as this gun is, I think that's a pretty good deal. Considering if you bought a regular Canic and did all this stuff to it, you would probably end up paying more. Overall, I think it's one of the better guns of 2024, and I think they're probably all on a similar level. I didn't really know where to put them on the list. M&P, the PDP, and the Canic, they're all just from different companies with about the same features, and whichever platform you like better is probably the one you should go with. That being said, I think maybe the Canic even edges out the other two in features, looks, and maybe a little performance in some cases. In at number 2, we have probably the best 380 ever made, the Bodyguard 2.0. And this thing is so tiny, it actually shocked me when I just picked it up. I mean, if you can see this to a standard full-size gun, this is what the Bodyguard looks like. This thing packs some heat too. You get a double stack magazine of 10+1 of 380 ACP, and it's actually pretty shootable, as you can see in the footage here. Actually pretty affordable as well, under $500 in a lot of cases. You get a 3-inch barrel with actually pretty decent sights for a 380. You get a high definition front with a blacked out rear. You get slide serrations, and you get that M&P 2.0 trigger, which cracks me up to even show you. It's actually a really good trigger in a pocket gun, which is something I've never seen before. Traditionally, pocket guns have terrible triggers, and this one actually feels really good. Now the downside of that is maybe it's a little too light to just put in the pocket without having a pocket holster, although when I carry in my pocket, I always have a pocket holster anyway, so I would recommend that. We have some texture up here to put your thumb to make sure you don't put your booger hook in front of the barrel there and get it blown off, and then it actually has a really good grip, which fills out a little bit on the sides and makes it grippable even for my bigger hands and allows me to shoot this gun a lot better than I normally would. I would say the best part of this gun is it only weighs 10 ounces, and it's probably lighter than your damn cell phone. So there's really no reason not to carry a gun anymore, and I know 380 is not the pinnacle of stopping power and performance, but it's certainly enough. And for the average person that doesn't know if they want to get a concealed carry, or maybe for a jogging gun, or maybe for going to the gym gun, or just an everyday carry for your average person, I really do believe this is one of the better guns ever made. Affordable, shootable, and reliable, and incredibly small. Man, 2024 has been a good year. Now there won't be any honorable mentions for this list because we are doing a best guns of 2024 as well, and maybe we'll see a few different ones on there. So if you want to see that video, make sure you subscribe. That being said, let's get into it with number 1. It's not too much of a shocker because it was the number 1 on the June video as well. This is the P365 AXG X Macro Legion. Probably one of the best shooting micro pistols ever made. It's an aluminum frame P365, and I would say it's the P365 that if you want to shoot the best with, this is the one that you get. It has a 17 round magazine capacity. It has the same weight and silhouette basically as a Glock 19, but you get an included compensator, 3-inch barrel, HD front sights, you get a dedicated milled out Shield RMS pattern optics mount, and you get a superior trigger compared to the normal 365s because this is a Legion series after all, like the 226. So it has a really good pull, it has a really good reset, and you can really burn it down with this thing. My favorite part about it is it's a 365 that actually fits my big ass, and the grip here feels great. One of the better grips I've ever felt on a small gun. It has this magwell here, which gives you a little bit extra grip and allows you that ability to put those magazines in as quickly as you want. It has the G10 grip inlay here, which feels absolutely great and honestly feels better than the M&P metal series. I would say that the M&Ps are more reliable traditionally, but I would say that the grip on the P365 feels really good. I would definitely recommend this gun if you're in the market for a little bit more expensive concealed carry gun, and if you want to be able to carry a gun all day, have enough capacity to handle any problem, and be able to shoot out to 100 yards, I think the P365 X Macro, X5, whatever the fuck this thing is a great choice. The performance of this gun absolutely speaks for itself, and I think that the feature set that you get, the color you get, the trigger you get, the reliability, the accuracy, all the performance in this tiny little baby package is one of the better guns SIG has ever made. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your Oklahoma shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.